All right, let's get going. So thanks everyone for coming. We've got Jesse from Base. We got Jason. Jesse's actually the one kind of moderating this conversation about how we're bringing a billion people on chain with awesome real world apps. Jason and I'll talk about Daylight and DIMO quite a bit. And we just announced today at DIMO that we're planning to migrate to Base in 2025. So we'll get into that. But then I'll turn it over to Jesse. Kick us off.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Welcome. Super excited to be here with Rob and Jason, and really to feel like we are, in the closing weeks of 2024, but in the opening chapter of the world starting to come on chain. And I think when I think about why and how the world's going to come on chain, it's about building a new internet that works better for people. And it's about building new experiences where people can be more connected, where they can earn more, and where they can benefit from being a part of this incredible interconnected world that we all live in. And I'm so excited to see that DIMO is going to be joining us to make that happen. I've been a DIMO customer for a long time. I've had my little device. I've earned rewards. I've used it to actually make decisions about my car and where we're going. And I think if we look at the history of cars in the last 20 years, it hasn't been that open. It hasn't been that connected. And it hasn't worked that well for consumers. And so I'm excited about starting and supporting a new chapter where we make that better for all of us. And we also open up an incredibly powerful new developer platform for builders so that in this thing that all of us spend all of our time in, or so much of our time in, that now actually can open up and people can build for it in an incredible new way. So yeah, just super excited, fired up, and a great way to start my Monday.
Great. Let's start with intros. Uh, yeah, so I was at vroom.com. We were selling used cars online, and I got into Ethereum, really wanted to upgrade the system, as Coinbase would say. Back then, this was like 2016. A lot of the use cases were like identity and voting and supply chain and finance and all of that. It was kind of like pre-ICO, pre-meme coins, and that's really what captured my attention. And really lucky to be able to combine that experience from Vroom. I then went and worked for 4 years at Consensus, and to be able to combine that kind of original ethos that I got into crypto for, with Demo as a real world use case. Uh, Jason, why don't you give a quick intro?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me to be here, guys. Excited to be here. I'm Jason. I'm the co-founder of Daylight. At Daylight, we're focused on scaling distributed energy to support power grids and ensure that we can meet all the coming energy demand that we're seeing across power grids globally. My background is in energy, started my career in investment banking, covering energy and power, moved into private equity, investing in power infrastructure around the US. And it became very evident to me that the traditional kind of centralized method of scaling power grids was not going to be effective for meeting all of the coming energy demand coming from data centers and compute, coming from electrification of transportation, coming from electrification of heating, reshoring of industrial bases. This is leading to unprecedented demand in electricity growth. And so meeting that can only be done in a net new way. And that net new way is by incentivizing distributed energy growth and capacity to come and actively support energy grids. What we're talking about is devices in our homes and buildings, thermostats, solar and batteries, electric vehicles, hot water heaters, heat pumps, all connecting, sharing energy from those devices, and working in concert to support energy grids. I think something that most people don't realize is that 1 gigawatt of smart thermostats creates the same amount of energy capacity as a new 1 gigawatt nuclear power plant. And we can build that much cheaper, much more quickly, much more effective than waiting 15, 20 years to build a new nuclear power plant. We can do it all together. And so that's what we're doing at Daylight, is incentivizing and scaling distributed energy to work in concert to pull those devices together and support energy grids and ensure that that new energy infrastructure is owned by the users that's actually building it.
Cool. And I never did an intro on what Demo is, but so Demo is like a plaid for your car. But instead of helping an app connect to your bank, we help them connect to your car. So whether it's an insurance company, ride hail network, bank, dealership, parking garage, social club for Kia Sedona owners, you can click a few times, let them access your car's data, unlock the car, and have your car pay for things. But importantly, that data is only ever shared when you opt into doing so. So the whole idea here is you're in control of your data. You decide who it's shared with. and you earn for that. So just imagine the DMVs replaced by smart contracts. Your car and my car talk to the traffic light and coordinate who gets to have the green light first based on who's going to get there. You drive your car into a garage and your car tells the mechanic its entire service history and exactly what's wrong with it. That's the kind of thing that we can build with a global connected car layer.
It's super exciting, and it's exciting to think about in the existing world where we're all driving our cars. But I feel like it's almost even more exciting to think about in the upcoming world where we're going to have more and more self-driving cars, where we're literally going to need these things to be connected to make it so they can make better decisions and that they can serve us all better as the world gets more efficient and gets more powered by AI.
Yeah, the AI agent in my car will talk to the traffic lights, will talk to the charging stations along the route and book a spot for me and prepay or lock in a rate or something like that. And yeah, your car will become like your car will park itself in a parking garage. You just like talk to the sensors in the garage and pay for itself and then come back out when you're done. South LA everywhere. So that's really
I love
pretty
it.
impossible to build right now without this like shared protocol for car permissions and data, and that's what we're building.
I love it. Awesome. And so we've all introduced ourselves at this point, but I'd love to just start, maybe bring us back. We know what DIMO does. We know what Daylight does. But one of the things that I'm curious about that maybe you can help folks come along is like, why do this on chain? Why do this on base? Like, how do you think this is going to actually make us more effective, more efficient, and the world work better in the year ahead?
Yeah, so for us, I mean, this was pretty clear early on. We were a bunch of car guys trying to solve a car problem, and it just like happened that blockchain was the right answer. I think a lot of projects, unfortunately, they'll start with like, I can make a lot of money with crypto. How can I justify something here? Like we really had a problem that really could only uniquely be solved with distributed ledger technology. So um, you think about it, like imagine the alternative to Demo, right? It's like imagine Apple were to build this, and it's like we give every car its Apple Car ID, and you use Apple Pay to pay. Like automakers would say absolutely not. Like Apple, they charge their 30% app tax. They will launch a competing project and find a way to like torpedo yours. You're entirely dependent. Let's say you're Toyota and you build your entire supply chain on this digital system, like you can't trust it not to go down or change or whatever, so you're not in control there. So it's a non-starter for them to have like any type of centralized solution. The only way that this could work as a protocol. You think about like in the 90s, no businesses were comfortable adopting public internet and email as protocols that they would depend on entirely. But now if those things like went down, your business would like crumble in a day. We've become so dependent on these like key internet protocols. We'll build that protocol for automotive, and it has to be on chain so it can remain neutral, open, decentralized.
I love it. And I imagine you're seeing similar things on the energy side, right, Jason?
Yeah, it's unique. Energy, most major power markets have this idea of capacity markets or insurance, almost reservation payments for power plants. What that means basically is these power markets pay power plants to sit on standby most of the year, and then occasionally when they're needed, they have to show up and dispatch. And so power markets kind of guarantee insurance for these power plants. It makes them more economic, ensures that they stay available, and we can meet power demand when it's necessary. But that concept has not and does not extend to distributed energy. And so only massive, big, centralized power plants that private equity firms can build can tap into these, capacity markets to date. There's not really just this market where anyone can deploy a battery, connect it simply through one tap and start earning for providing that active support from that battery. And so we decided to go build this in a decentralized way because number one, it's much more efficient than trying to raise the balance sheet necessary to pay people to be on standby, and compensate them for being on standby to actively support the grid for many, many months and many, many years. And then secondly, I think there's just like the philosophical side of this, which is if the future of energy is actively supported by millions of nodes, millions of tiny power plants in our buildings and our homes, those users, those owners of those assets should also own the power plants that they're building together. And there's only one way to do that, and that's with tokens, and that's with crypto. So
Yeah.
that's why on chain.
And I will say that I'm it's interesting. I get to play the role of dual founder of base builder and then also consumer. And I installed solar and batteries on my home maybe like 5 years ago. And it was a really frustrating process. And I definitely left that process being like, man, like this could work better. And now we're actually going through the process of adding daylight. and it's just been awesome. And it's not only awesome because we get to work with Jason, but it's also awesome because it's clear that the value prop is here. Like, we've been building this infrastructure for so long, but now it's like you add solar to your house, and it's like you're going to earn more money as a result of it. You're going to contribute to making the energy grid more efficient as a result of it, and you're going to help us build a new internet as a result of it. And so that for me is just like, 5 years ago, none of this existed, and now we actually have a bunch of this infrastructure coming together to enable real consumer experiences that make people more money and that make their lives easier. Like, that's literally the whole point of why we are building on chain, why we're building this next generation of the internet. And so turning towards the year ahead, I'm curious about like what's your guys' priorities in 2025. What's top of mind?
But you did, you also, I mean, you did ask why base. I definitely want to answer that because it's like the first comments we get when we announce that we want to migrate to base, or like why not Solana or whatever. I mean, we've been on Polygon for a long time. Like, why do this move? But I definitely want to touch on that too, and then we can get. I'll touch on 2025 also, but I think we actually have some really great answers here too for why base. We're trying to build this as a truly Web3 protocol. I think there's a lot of projects that are like, that it's like a SaaS business that happens to issue a token on the side. Like, we mint the vehicles on chain. That is the canonical identity for a car. The permissions are set on chain for who can access the car's data. We've linked the device that you install in your vehicle to that vehicle ID NFT, and we give it a wallet. So we're a very on-chain protocol. And that's the part that we're talking about migrating, by the way. The DIMO token can and will continue to exist on Ethereum, Polygon, Base, and actually Solana too. Like, we'll move the token, so that people can, or make it bridgeable so people can move it over there as well. But we're talking about the protocol here. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is we're going to be working with major automakers, banks, DMVs, insurance companies. They are going to make DIMO an integral part of their core stack. Like, if this goes down, we're screwed type part of their core stack, and it can't go down because the way we're building it. But hypothetically, and so we want to pick an ecosystem where they're comfortable, where they already have, maybe they have like Coinbase Prime or custody accounts. Maybe they're already very familiar with the brand. The Coinbase already has a lot of inroads there, and Base has a lot of inroads there, some credibility and tooling that they need, that larger enterprises need. Um, Second, commerce is going to be, we always talk about like vehicle data, but we don't talk about the commerce angle as much. Like automotive, man, these are like really big dollar transactions. Your car is so expensive. People spend 12 grand a year on their car. And for bigger transactions, we're doing like ACH, and we're using fax machines, and you're like taking pieces of paper to the DMV. For smaller transactions, it still adds up, and you're doing the credit card fees on everything. We can make automotive commerce so much more efficient, whether it's like the payments or the titles, the registrations, the insurance contracts, ride-hail contracts, et cetera. So on the commerce side, we want to do a lot. And Coinbase and Base having so much on-chain and off-chain products really kind of help to accelerate that adoption. Third, community is great. People love Base. Clearly, Base is one of the top chains people like to be. And then four, just always been very impressed with the talent at Optimism and Base, kind of furthering performance and security standpoint. So those were our, Jesse's not paying me anything to say any of this, I promise.
I was ready to
Um,
move on. I love it. You
yeah,
got to get the base
yeah,
value props. I love it. And I think there's actually one other maybe that I'll call out, which is that I think what we're seeing emerge on base is that there's a bunch of different open infrastructure being built, particularly on the kind of like decentralized physical infrastructure. We have Daylight. We obviously have DIMO. There's a bunch more coming. And one of the things I'm most optimistic about is those pieces of infrastructure actually being able to interoperate and accelerate each other, right? Like, imagine if you have a demo car and a daylight battery and a daylight solar system, and now you can build on top of all of those, and those
yeah.
can actually like amplify each other in terms of rewards on chain, and they can work better because they're together. I think that value prop of we have the world computer now, It's running on Base. It's fast. It's cheap, and that actually lets businesses and networks collaborate more effectively. And there's a critical density of those networks and businesses being built on Base right now. So if you join, that can actually accelerate you. I think that's one of the things that I'm getting most excited about as we head into 2025.
It's one of like the biggest things that's been so disappointing to me over the last several years is like the fragmentation kind of killing a lot of the composable use cases. Like DeFi Summer, the money Legos narrative, if people were around back then, was like such a unlock. I couldn't get this concept of composability until I took my LP tokens from here and locked them up over there, and then like did something else over here, and it's like, oh wow, I kind of see all these things fit together. We've kind of gotten away from that a little bit with the fragmentation. A lot of what Base and the OP ecosystem are doing, Polygon with their ag layer, others like trying to solve interoperability. I'm so excited for the composable use cases to come back, but that's also another reason for Base too. Is like Daylight's on Base, and we'll continue to partner with them. Blackbird, like we're going to mint food trucks on DIMO and then show their location in Blackbird, things like that. We also, it's like obviously you want to be close to other deep in projects, but we also want to be close to like lending protocols and insurance projects and Cario doing car titles on chain. And it's not just about deep in, it's about the whole extended ecosystem and building really solid composable um, applications, which we've really never like. I think this is kind of a new thing
Yeah,
that you can do with blockchain. We've never really seen it
it's just starting.
mature. Yeah.
It's going to be really incredible. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's. I love that. And let's, Jason, you got anything else to add on Base?
I've spoken about this quite a bit, and I have blog posts published about it. So I don't feel like Base is great. We don't need to harp on it too much, but it's the place to be if you're
I
looking to
love
build
it.
in the EVM for sure. Yeah.
Let's talk a little about 2025. As you guys are looking towards 2025, there's obviously a bunch of like trends converging. We're seeing the acceleration of the on-chain infrastructure. We're seeing AI start to be a really powerful thing. That's obviously driving innovation on Base. We're seeing smart wallets. What are the key things that you guys are excited about for Daylight and for Demo?
Yeah, for us, I think the biggest um, milestone for Daylight, especially in early 2025, is getting to mainnet. Daylight's still kind of earlier in its journey as far as deep ends go. We're in testnet today. Points are live on our app, but we are marching quickly towards mainnet in 2025, and that's a big moment for the entire Daylight community and continuing to scale decentralized energy. And then second, I would add one of the more exciting things as well is Rob kind of alluded to this when he's talking about composability, but I think one of the more underexplored opportunities in DeepN is connecting DeFi and DeepN together, especially with DeepNs that rely on more expensive assets like energy. We're talking about solar and storage or hot water heaters or electric vehicle chargers. These are not $300 boxes, right? And so if we can start to use the composability of DeFi and DeepN in the search for real world asset yield and DeepN participation without actually having to host a device yourself, there's a lot of really interesting cross opportunities across that. And you'll see us innovate a lot there in the coming year, kind of post mainnet. So that's what I'm excited about.
I love it, Rob.
We want to get to 1 million cars this year. We want to make our mobile app. So we recently went back to the basics. The login, the UX, the onboarding needs to be great. We've since made a lot of progress there, and now our focus going into 2025 is going to be to add more and more useful things for you to do with your car beyond just like managing your crypto, but like being able to track your trips and make sure your kid's not driving past curfew and that the car is safe and healthy and all that. Manage your vehicle. So add some of that stuff. And I mentioned earlier, we're kind of like the plaid for your car. That implies that developers will be building their use cases on it. So you'll go into an insurance application, you'll go into an AI agent, and it'll say, connect your car with DIMO. You'll tap, and that application will now have your car's data, and we'll see an AI agent that knows everything about your car that you can ask questions to. We'll see usage-based insurance. We'll see dealers building apps for their customers to use to stay connected with the dealer, like all built on DIMO, and excited to see those launching in 2025.
Yeah, again, I mean, I feel like 2025 is really going to be the year where crypto comes out of its infrastructure and speculative era and comes into its we are building better products that solve real problems for real people. Like that's the
Yeah,
year that we have ahead.
I'm predicting a flip of last year around this time. DPIN got super hot and then was just drowned out by just a wave of meme coins and the crypto casino stuff. And not hating on those things, but I think this year will be a little bit like kind of the opposite. The attention first that came into Bitcoin and meme coins, and I think that meme coins will settle down a little bit, and we'll see the real world use cases really coming on strong, especially now that there are a bunch with great like wallet and UX experiences and some real first player utility. I think both of our projects qualify for that. So I really am expecting a big
100%.
2025 and kind of just like looking forward to projects like ours, just raising the bar, just like setting a new standard for what it means to be, a good application and a good project.
Let's drill in on that for a second. You guys have both been at the forefront of just making it really easy to use on-chain products, with things like smart wallets and passkeys and easier onboarding. I'm curious for y'all, like why is that important? And what are you seeing right now in the kind of day-to-day of building that kind of world-class product and world-class easy UX?
And Daylight, we use Privy, so we spin up, embedded wallets as soon as users create accounts. They never touch a seed phrase and never see the wallet. We use Coinbase Smart Wallet right now to sponsor gas transactions and kind of alleviate any friction there for the user. The key is to build not for the people that are here already. The key is to build for all of the crypto curious people. There's 100 million something people that have accounts at Coinbase that are crypto holders but not crypto users, and they're not going to be crypto users until we abstract away all of that complexity. And so, the market is sufficiently big. It's not just the people that are active on chain today, it's the people that we need to bring on chain that we need to build for. And so we start every product decision with how do we get the crypto curious, not necessarily the crypto native, they're already here. How do we get the crypto curious to also interact and use our product and make sure it's incredibly simple and seamless for them to do so? So we make every decision through that lens.
We actually really wanted to punt on this. We didn't want to break this off right now. We figured like other companies will innovate here, and we should never have to be, a wallet company the same way that we don't reinvent Shopify or Stripe or anything else, right? We just kind of use the good stuff that's out there, focus on our core competencies. But we were fortunate to encounter a legacy dinosaur insurance, company early on that we were kind of chugging along with our, Connect MetaMask, sign in with Ethereum. And we kind of realized like just how not feasible that was. It was just like so far. They weren't even using OAuth. They're using like just this like decades old login with email password based system, and to try to get them to introduce, a MetaMask pop up, just like total non-starter. So that helped us really dial in like what is the version of a wallet that works for scale. Now, we started building this before I think Coinbase Smart Wallet was like just announced or hadn't even been announced yet and was still in beta and was on desktop only. And we probably would have done things a little bit differently if we did it again. But the other thing that was really important in how we did this wallet. So we also spin up a kind of a cloud signer with turnkey that's secured by passkey and email. It's fully recoverable and has some protections in place so people aren't getting hacked. It's important that if you're like your car is being secured, like the actual car title, like transferring your car is transferring the ownership of it. And DIMO, if that's the case, we need to make sure that the accounts are secure. So that was one important thing. We also use smart accounts for gas abstraction and that kind of stuff. But what else was I going to say? Yeah, we just want to give people a safe, secure, easy login experience. And I mentioned earlier we chose Base because of all the great products that are being built around it. Hopefully that we don't have to keep hopefully we don't have to ever build that type of infrastructure ourselves again, and we can always just keep using what's already out there and being built by teams that are really focused on these things.
I love it. One thing, so as we get to wrap up, I'm curious, like, what does success for y'all look like in like 3 years, 2 to 3 years? Like, we're back here in 2027, at the end of the year. Like, how do you guys think about success? And then, two, what's the best way for folks to get involved as they want to get their car on chain? They want to get their solar panels, their batteries on chain. They want to help build this future.
Sure, I'll start. Yeah, in 3 years, we expect to see gigawatts of power aggregated and connected and orchestrated through Daylight. We're talking about the size of many, many nuclear power plants, all contributed by sustainable, clean, electric resources sitting in people's homes, sitting in people's offices and their buildings, providing capacity together to support energy grids and greatly accelerate the ability for our energy system to meet all of its coming demand and increase its reliability. So that's our North Star, is aggregating gigawatts and gigawatts of power and brokering that into energy markets and ensuring people earn for that. People can get involved today on testnet. You can download the Daylight app. You can find it on the App Store or on the Play Store. The link is in the Daylight Energy Twitter bio. The Daylight Twitter is also in my bio, but it's the handle is at Daylight Energy _ because somebody is camping on regular at Daylight Energy, and Twitter won't give it to me. But that's the current handle.
I was going to say we've been trying to get at DIMO, but it's like it's been dormant for 8 years. There's some guy whose name is Omid, and he just got like the reverse handle or something like that. But anyway,
Exactly. Yep.
Rob?
Yeah, in the future, the DIMO vehicle ID will become the new global canonical VIN for a car. The blockchain will be the de facto ledger for registrations and ownership and that kind of stuff. Payments will be made on chain. All credentials, like, is this car insured? Is the driver license? Is the car registered? They'll tie back to cryptographically secure on-chain identifiers. Yeah, and your car's AI and my car's AI will talk to each other and coordinate, make sure we don't crash into each other, and that our lights are good and all that stuff. So that's the type of future that we want to enable. We think we can innovate on a much faster cycle. You also, like earlier to the question about why on chain, when you have decentralized open systems, and innovation can come from anywhere. So the Ethereum, like, innovations coming from all kinds of companies, Coinbase being one of the top ones in that. So that's the world we envision. People want to get connected or do more. Just go to DIMO.co, download the app, connect your car. If you have a newer car, like if you have like an email and password, you can have like an app for your car. You can probably connect it for free with just that email password. If your car's older, it's not already connected, you can buy a device. We have one for $169 at DIMO.co that you can plug into your car. It's great piece of hardware, safe and easy to use. We never share your data unless you're the one who shares it. We keep it secure and encrypted. So yeah, the easiest way to do it is to connect your car.
And I will say I am a Daylight user and I am a DIMO user, and both experiences are super easy to get started. And there's super easy way to contribute back, both to building a really powerful network for cars, a really powerful network for energy, and making the world a better place. So thanks everybody for tuning in to this awesome fireside. Super excited to welcome DIMO to Base. Super excited to welcome other folks who are building decentralized physical infrastructure to Base. If you want to build with us, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to Rob. Feel free to reach out to Jason. All of us are part of this Base builder community where we're by builders, for builders, lifting up builders, and we want to build with you. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.